Friends, I came across in a national magazine a fascinating story about a young woman named Laura Bell. Laura Bell graduated from college and then took a job as a shepherd. Her parents thought she had lost it. And so for 3 years, she was on the job 24/7, as they say, off by herself and her horse in the hill country of Wyoming, taking care of some 2,000 sheep. She said she did it because she wanted a chance to be alone and to ask herself some questions about her life, who she was, where she was going, and so forth. And she learned a lot about herself. And she also said that she learned a lot about what Jesus meant when he called himself a good shepherd. She learned that sheep herding is not really a job at all. It's a way of life. When you're a shepherd, a good shepherd, you do things for your sheep that these are her words, no employer could ever require of you, and that no wages could ever pay you for. You go beyond the call of duty. Jesus identified himself in this gospel passage as the good shepherd who would lay down his life for his sheep. That kind of dedication, when it comes, if it comes, must come from the heart, inside, voluntarily. Money cannot buy that. No law can compel it. In giving his life for us, Jesus was operating the realm beyond the call of duty. I want to talk to you a little bit about that expression and what it means, beyond the call of duty. There's a sense, I think you see, that in every area of life, there are demands that are made of us. There's a minimum set of duties that we are expected to fulfill. An employee, for instance, is expected to show up at work at a particular time and remain on the job for a particular number of hours and do a number of things while he was there. The same is true, obviously, of family and life. To be a mother or father, husband and wife demands that certain minimal duties be performed. Children, too, in the home usually have some rules to follow and some expectations to be met. In every area of life, it is the same for the student, the public official, the priest, the family, the church member. But the greatness of life, it seems to me, the real beauty of life and the real joy of life lies in the realm beyond the call of duty. Jesus is remembered and revered as the Good Shepherd because he voluntarily took on himself that which no one could possibly have demanded of him. And when you and I do the same, we are following him most closely on the path that leads to fullness of life. Explain that to you. A student, for instance, discovers the joy of learning when he puts demands on himself that no teacher could ever require. Family life takes on beauty and richness when husbands and wives, parents and children, give of themselves in ways that no rule could demand. They go beyond what the rule would say. A person's work becomes a privilege and a pleasure when he or she stops thinking in terms of minimal requirements, what do I need to do, and makes an investment in self, in what that job is. Our human life is enriched when we go beyond what is required. When we serve as volunteers, volunteer firemen, hospital workers, youth advisors, sports coaches, church workers, religion teachers, youth ministry, and so forth. And in reflecting on this, I think that in every group, every gathering of people, whether it be 10,000 people in a parish or 8 people in a family, There are three kinds of people. First, there are those who refuse to face up to their responsibilities. And when they're little, they get timeouts. And when they're a little older, they get grounded. And when they get in high school, they get detention. And when they're adults, they get arrested. And then there are those who do their duty, but nothing more. They do what is required of them, or by custom, or by tradition. But their standard of conduct, you see, comes from outside themselves. They're meeting something out there that's required. It's written down, or it's tradition, or whatever. And then there are those whose standard of behavior comes from within. And they ask of themselves things that no laws or rules could ever demand. They are the people who bear the brunt of the load. They are the ones who give strength and character to their families, to their parishes, to their communities. But do not pity them as martyrs, because it is also they who experience a satisfaction, a contentment, a fulfillment that those other two groups just do not experience and probably don't even know exists. So, my friends, if a person is going to operate in that realm beyond the call of duty, something has to happen to him on the inside. No one can hire or bribe or compel us as a person to act the way Jesus did. But Jesus living in us can cause that to happen. St. Paul explains this when he says, I live, yet not I. Christ lives within me. Today, let us ask the Lord to help us to follow him on the road that leads to fullness of life, the path that takes us beyond the call of duty.